The guns which were considered meta in past have got nerfed in the current season. How does this affect the state of meta right now? Do we still use the same guns as last season, or are there some changes in the lineup for the best guns to use in this season? Let's find out in today's meta analysis and what are the best guns for season 7. Instead of it being a top 10 list, I'll be going over the guns based on playstyle. Starting with the aggressive playstyle. We will usually play close range, and the guns we use for this range needs to have specific characteristics. MX9 is the go-to when playing close range and aggressive. It is the best SMG right now with good range, good sprints to fire, good ADS speed, the best if not one of the best ADS movement speeds in the game, very comfortable recall, consistent hitbox and time to kill, and so on. All the traits we need for a gun to perform good in close range, MX9 has it. And in my Twitter, while I did give a list of guns that you can use, none of the other guns are actually worth using as long as MX9 is this good. So use this while you can, because the developers will ruin this, like how Fennec went from the best gun for aggressive playstyle to not even making this list right now. For Gunsmith builds, I recommend this one, and for alternate builds, you can check out my dedicated Gunsmith analysis on the MX9. Honorable mention, Pharaoh. Now Pharaoh is not technically an honorable mention, as you can use this better than MX9, but it requires a certain playstyle which you need to play a lot of to master, so it's not an easy gun to use. MX9 playstyle is more straightforward and simpler in comparison, while Pharaoh needs to abuse movement and try to get the one burst kills consistently. In terms of time to kill, not even the MX9 can defeat the Pharaoh if the Pharaoh can get the one burst kill. The if clause is why this is an honorable mention, as we need to have good aim and good movement to take advantage of the Pharaoh. Think of shotgun playstyle but for SMG instead, and you have the Pharaoh. For Gunsmith builds, I have two recommendations. The first one is by Mr. Roy for enhancing the one burst potential, and we can one burst anywhere on the body till 17 meters with this build. The other is what I use, and this has less range but faster to use with good hip fire, so try and see which you like better and use that. ASVAL is the only assault rifle which is made for playing aggressive. It has bullet speed which gives slower time to kill at range, while we need to play it close quarters for the most effectiveness, and it is really similar to MX9 in some stats, but I like the faster mobility of the MX9. Why I would personally use that over the Val. Nonetheless, there is only one recommended build, use this. This is the best overall build for season 7. Shotguns are absolute beast in close range if you can get the one shot one kill on the enemy. MX9 and Pharaoh both lose to them in close quarters. The only concern is they aren't as easy to use, why they are not more prevalent. Otherwise, a good shotgun user is a force to be reckoned with, and I am legit scared of playing against good shotgun players, because unless they make a mistake and I get a kill on them, shotguns are so good that they can reverse nuke me in close quarters and I cannot do anything about it. HS0405 and the KRM are the best shotguns right now, and use these builds for them. Some people use the QQ9 for aggressive playstyle, and this is my recommended build, but MX9 is the superior gun. Why QQ9 did not make the list? Fennec is still good and usable, but the time to kill is slower now, and MX9 is better than Fennec overall. Still, this is my recommended build if you want to give it a try. Hey guys, it's a humble request to please share this video in your Discord and social media, so the information presented in the video is seen by more people. Thank you. Coming to versatile playstyle, we have a lot of guns that come into this category, and the beauty of these weapons is that we can use it both for playing aggressive and for playing mid to long range, thus allowing us to fill the gaps in the lineup and change roles at the drop of a hat. These guns can win their gunfights against the aggressive guns, but their main role isn't to play aggressive, why we have a separate category. Starting with the underdog in the most underrated weapon since its launch, the gun which must not be named. Peacekeeper. It was shamed by YouTubers in past for being bad, and after receiving some nerfs over the months, YouTubers are now coming to terms with this gun actually being good. Quite ironical if you ask me. Nonetheless, I'm a stats and analysis kind of a person, and I have been supporting this gun ever since the day it dropped because the stats on it are good and it performs well in practice as well, and I'm confident playing against any gun the enemy is using. Recall is a concern, but we just need to get better at it. Recall control is a skill we can learn and master, and as we use the gun more and more, we just get used to recall pattern. Anyway, for recommended builds, start with this, and this is the best build for starters, and I personally use this build, but you need good recall control to make proper use of it. The other build is this one for more mobility, and those are my recommendations. Holger 26 is another gun which after the recent nerf, people are not even considering part of the meta anymore, and that is so far from the truth. Holger is still amazing, has good range and allows for consistent time to kill at range, and has good time to kill playing aggressive as well. I recommend this build and also personally use this, but some people also use this build, so try them out and see which one you like and use that. BK57 is another gun I don't see much of in ranked or even in professional plays, but honest to god, this is another underrated weapon, and it would have been used more if people were more open to using other guns instead of spamming the DRH, for example. For recommended builds, I would suggest this, but I have a dedicated video on the BK covering a lot of builds, so you can find your perfect build there. Razorback is another gun which is criminally underrated, and this has easy recall, good mobility, good range, and has all of the other traits which are necessary for versatile playstyle. There's only one recommended build, use this. This is the best build overall. Bison has received range nerfs, and even then this continues to be part of the meta. This is not the best #1 gun to use as some people might claim it to be. If you ask me, Razorback is a better weapon to use, but for a layman, give them the Bison and they will do well, cause it's an easy to use gun and people usually do well with it. Why? It gives the illusion of #1 best gun season 7. I personally use this now for maximizing the range, and we have good ADS speed for close range with consistent time to kill and huge mag as well. The other guns which do not make this list probably have some issues with time to kill at range or time to kill consistency or some other factors like that. Nonetheless, these are the best aggressive and versatile guns to use in this season. Let's look at the next category. Do help make this video popular by leaving a like and a comment, maybe on what is your #1 gun for this season. Let's see what is the best gun according to you. Long-range guns are guns we mainly use for range and for passive playstyle. A lot of guns you might think should have made it to the previous list can make an appearance here. Starting with the HVK-30. It is the best overall gun for playing range, period. We have nearly 40 meters of 4-shot range with 250 milliseconds time to kill. The BSA and recoil are both good to take advantage of this huge range, and mobility and ADS are slower but not that important for playing range, thus we are fine with slower builds. There's only one recommended build for HVK, use this. No other gun does what the HVK does, so don't make it an inferior alternative to some other gun. Instead, take advantage of its strengths and abuse them. LMGs like RPD are usually used for passive playstyle, why it is in this section, and RPD is the go-to LMG if you want to play it like a LMG. People were using Holger with LMG build, but that is an inferior RPD if you ask me. With Holger LMG nerf, RPD will see more use and get the recognition it deserves. I recommend and use this build personally, but there are alternate builds too, like this one for example. Snipers also come in this section, and while we could include them in the versatile section, their main purpose is range and passive play. Why they are in this section. If a sniper has you in their crosshair, say your prayers because you will meet our Father in heaven. Snipers are the best long-range weapons and nothing comes close. The best sniper which people don't even use is the SPR. It is a marksman rifle and has a range cap to it unlike the traditional snipers, but the range is huge for cross-map one-shots in most maps and angles that people play. Thus using locus or DLQ in these maps is inefficient. For a sniper build, use this. Otherwise, for speed build, you can try this out. Tactical laser is usually not recommended because it does not do much. Locus and DLQ are still the GOATs, and this is the DLQ build and this is the Locus build. Rytec AMR is another decent option, but SPR, Locus, DLQ are better in comparison. Arctic is good too, but usually used for BR, and this is the BR build for it. Thus recommended snipers are SPR, DLQ and Locus, and you can use whatever you want among these. Semi-auto snipers got a reputation which rose like a tsunami and then crashed. Pro teams don't make use of it for a reason. One-shot snipers are better, and semi-auto snipers' time to kill is inconsistent and very punishing. But people still use SKS, and you can try this build for it, and the M67 AMAX, which has this build. I personally don't recommend using semi-auto snipers. They are not viable practically, and they are only good in stat numbers. The other guns you can try for range is the KN44 and use it with the range build. And if you don't like the KN, then use the LK24. KN and LK comes down mainly to recoil, and KN, if you ask me, is the better gun overall, but recoil on LK is easy and comfortable, why people use the LK for long range. But KN is equally good and viable, just need to get a hang of the recoil pattern, which got buffed and is easier to control now than in past. Those are the best guns to use in this season, and the playstyle you need to use them effectively. If I've forgotten to mention your favorite gun, do let me know in the comments section. And I on purpose did not include the Hades LMG because I haven't used it, and while I do know these stats, they are just numbers and I need to use the gun practically to analyze it, why it isn't part of this list. I will have a separate analysis on the Hades later. Hopefully this video was informative and I could clarify which guns are legit good without any smokes and mirrors, and what playstyle will suit them. Do share the video around so it reaches a wider audience, and do leave a like and a comment to help support the video. I will see you again tomorrow. Till then, take care guys, and bye.